You will get so much further if you have the right people to support you, the right cheerleaders in your life and for your business. I'm Diana. I'm a success strategist and I help you succeed in your business. And I'm on a journey also to find my authentic self in my business, in my life, which is what I do on this channel. I share ideas, topics, or talk about topics that are relevant for this. Today, let's talk about the whole thing about surrounding yourself with the right people. You should surround yourself with the right people. This is so bad, but let's go with it. I will find the book and leave it in the comments or in the description for you. The idea is that, and this is like a very, very old book, but the idea here is that it's so, so important that we surround ourselves with the right people, both in terms of getting information and getting inspiration and challenge ourselves. So we want to have people who are preferably also further along in the journey than we are to inspire us, to help us along the way. And it doesn't mean necessarily that they have to be that on everything, but on the specific topic that you're looking for advice from them on, they should be further along on their journey than you are, right? So going back to then the cheerleading part, I want to talk in general what I mean when I say cheerleading, why that is important, and how to kind of find the cheerleaders, but also talk a little bit about a study that's been done at the Harvard Business School. So let's start with the cheerleaders. So it's important to find the cheerleaders that are right for the place in your journey and for the specific area in your life and in your business. So you want to have different cheerleaders for different aspects of your life and your business. One of the things that my husband is probably my biggest cheerleader of all time, and I freaking love him for it. I love him in general, but also for that. But the thing is, I can tell him about my business. I can tell him about what I do and we can discuss all these things, but it's not his area of expertise. So he'll cheer on me for just like in general, just because he supports me, but he can't like at the same time tell me like cheer on me for this was a good result. To tell me I'm cheering because this was a good result unless I've told him that it is, right? Whereas if you have people who kind of know what it is that you're doing, know that the goals you want to achieve and know what that feels like, they are way better cheerleaders. Because the opposite coin of the cheerleader is to have accountability. It can also be different people, but the great either coaches or accountability partners or cheerleaders / accountability partners, they kind of do both, right? So they cheer you on when stuff is good, but they can also help you out when stuff is hard. So when you run into a challenge, when you are stuck on an issue or a problem, they can be your sounding board. They can be your accountability to actually move a little bit at the time. At the moment, I'm listening to a book by Robin Sharma, the guy who also wrote the 5 a.m. Club. He just published a new audiobook, and for some reason, it's only there on audio. And it's about the power of consistency and doing small things. Haven't finished it yet, but it's really good. The point here is that the accountability part of having someone helping you have that accountability, having that consistency. So having someone who will help you make sure that if you can't do it yourself, because a lot of people, including myself for that matter, have a hard time staying accountable to themselves. So that is why you want to make sure that you have those accountability partners, those cheerleaders to help you along the way. Because going back to the consistency part is that where things happen, where things really blow up for business owners in life in general, that is when you have the consistency and keep doing the things, even on the hard days, even on the days where everything sucks a little bit, right? You keep working on it and you keep pushing on. And when everybody else has given up, you're still there because this is your fucking dream. This is your goal. This is what you want to do. You can find, of course, your cheerleaders and accountability partners in your family, in your friends, in your network in general. You can also hire a coach for it. You can hire someone like me, a success strategist, to help you out. The idea here is to have someone. The good thing about hiring someone versus having someone in your private network or private inner circle help you is that a lot of the time it will be kind of a tit for tat where you kind of barter each other and you help each other out, right? If you're paying someone to help you with this, you can focus 100% on you and on your business because you don't have to make sure to keep them accountable in the same role and or in the same period and in for that. So you can actually focus on you and focus on your consistency and get to where you want to go. And when we're talking about going back to, again, the whole idea with the 5 people you spend the most time around, research done at Harvard Business School, and I'm going to have my paper here because Dylan Miner and Michael Housemay, might be not pronounced correctly, they did a study showing that when you are around toxic people or people who have a very negative view, your productivity dives. So you will be on average 30% less productive if you're surrounded by people who are not supporting you, who are not happy, who are not like positive influences, right? That's a freaking lot. Let's say that you are a solopreneur and you have a spouse that's not supportive, or you are in an office environment where you're renting an office space, but there are people around you that are negative. Then remove yourself. If you're at home, then go out, sit in a cafe where you're not surrounded by people or influenced by negativity. Find another office, stuff like that, because 30% is a freaking lot. And you are also, according to this study, 27% more likely yourself to interact or to start portraying negative behavior or toxic behavior. So not only is your productivity plumbing, you're also becoming negative yourself. So that is really, really a bad idea. So thinking about your surroundings and the people you surround yourself with has so many positives when you figure out the right structure for you, the right dynamic, the right people to be around. And sometimes it's also, when we're talking, sometimes it can be hard, like, well, maybe you have a partner that's a bit negative in terms of your business, but on everything else, they're amazing, right? But you don't want to kind of cut that out of your life. But then again, move out touch. But there might be people in your life where you're like, that's a negative influence. And you can kind of not ignore them or like just go no contact, but maybe you can go low contact with them so that you kind of set yourself up for the optimal success for yourself, for your business. And we're talking about also the authenticity of you, right? That's the whole idea here, that you want to find your most true you. And hopefully that's a happy and productive and amazing person who has a business that works for you and that does exactly what you want it to do. And that is what you can get from surrounding yourself with the right people, right? The positive thing that this study found was that if you are surrounded with negative people or influence, people are not cheerleaders, people who are not necessarily super good for your productivity. If you remove yourself from their sphere, it only takes about a month for your own productivity to rise and for your own negativity to kind of dissipate again, unless you're, of course, a negative person. But again, most people are really not. So remember that getting the inspiration, surround yourself with the people that actually make sense, that gives you energy, that helps you out. That is so, so important. And remember, mentors and people you surround yourself with is also in the content that you consume. So this is, again, my journey as well, that I try to consume less non-valuable content where I just end up sitting and scrolling on my phone, and do more like audiobooks or podcasts where there's actual value and where there's stuff I can learn, people I look up to. So my mentors, the 5 people I surround myself with, can also be what I put in my ears or what I read. It doesn't necessarily have to be physical people always, but it's a good mixture. And then of course it's okay still to do doom scroll once in a while, but just don't let it be a habit. Today I ended up being like, okay, now I feel myself going into, I have like I call them frog tasks on my to-do list, because those, like, I don't know if you've heard of the concept Eat the Frog. It's also a book where you're kind of starting with the hardest task first. I use a concept that's called Taking Souls. That's from David Goggins. I could recommend you reading his books. They're a bit like hardcore to the point as well, and a bit overdone, but also mindset wise very interesting. But at home here, we're talking about taking souls. Today, I was like, I have one of these tasks on my to-do list today. I have that every day, but one of them today is this thing that I have to prepare for a presentation. And it's just in the back of my head and nagging. And I ended up scrolling because I was like, I can't really get myself to do this right now. And then I was like, okay, stop, think about this, and then go and say, okay, now I'm going to go. I have another thing on my list today, which is cleaning. I'm going to go do that because then I get to move my body and do something else, get my head away, put on some good music, and then come back and do that other task later. So the whole mindset thing um about like, what is it that you surround yourself with? What are the structures and the things should you do? Taking souls is also part of our cheerleading at home, because then when I can tell my husband, hey, I took a soul today with this task I overcame, then I get a high five or knuckles. And then that's a celebration, right? Then he's cheering for me. So it's all kind of interconnected, but start small. Start by looking at your network. Are there any, I'm going to call them negative Nancys? Sorry, if you're called Nancy, you can also be a positive Nancy. But are there any really negative people that you could cut out or go low contact with, or at least stop sharing about that thing that they're negative about, or that thing where you have a goal that you are really stoked about, where you know that their input just won't help anything. I hope this helps you. Please subscribe, follow for more here. I'm going to post these videos, hopefully to inspire you, talk about authenticity and all the things that matter in our businesses. If there's anyone you would like me to interview around these topics, please feel free to let me know in the comments. I would love to know, what are your soul tasks? Are there anything where you know that this is actually an ongoing task that's a soul task? Or is there anything that you've done this week where you have taken the soul, or where you have eaten the frog, whatever you want to call that concept? I would love to know in the comments. Bye.